Hello everyone and welcome to our first interview with amazing student from LSE. This is Kate and she's doing masters at LSE. She'll briefly introduce herself, but before I will jump in and tell a bit about myself. My name is Victoria and I have been living in the UK for too many years. I've been studying at KCL for my bachelor's, then my master's at UCL, then a couple of years at Accenture, and now I'm here at LSE crying because I didn't study there, so I'm a bit jealous, to be honest. But yeah, this is my quick story, and now let's listen to Katie's story, which will be much more fascinating than mine. So
yeah, my name is Kate. I was born in Russia. I lived there until I was 15 years old. Then I moved to Italy. I lived in Milan for 2 years. I went to international school there and did my IB. And then about 4 years ago, I moved to the UK. Absolutely fell in love with London. It's my most favorite city in the world. And yeah, I went to Queen Mary University in London. I did marketing there for about 3 years. And then decided to continue my studies and do my master's at LSE. So now I'm doing media communications degree.
you studied in Italy. Why have you decided to actually go and study in London? Is it about the city? Is it about the education? Is it about maybe you secretly fell in love?
British guy, Hugh Grant.
Yeah,
Young
exactly.
So yeah, well, when I was in international school in Milan, I had a few options. I didn't want to study in the US because my family couldn't afford it. So I want to study either in Europe or maybe Australia. And my main focus was just to get into like a top university in the world. So most of them are located in UK or US. But also I think I want just to come to London because I don't know, in Russia, for example, everyone's like, oh, London, it's so cool, so much architecture, famous people live there. So yeah, I was just like, it sounds like a great city, and it was quite close to Milan, only like 2 hours away, 2 hours by plane. So I was like, it's still close to my family, but it's a different country. And then I looked at different courses, and also for me, what's really important is because I did IB. I didn't have to do any like additional tests. So for example, for US, you have to do SAT. For Australia, you have to do IELTS, something like that. For UK, I didn't have to do anything and just had to get my final, exam grades and then apply and be like, yeah, cool, I'm going. So I guess they were like the main reasons.
Like that, one of the main factors to study in the UK is just because I don't have to like pass any tests, any GMAT, SAT. No, thank you. This is actually a very interesting point because I've also studied in the UK before my university, so I didn't have to pass any additional tests. It's makes life so much simpler because for other students, especially coming from India, from Russia, Pakistan, they have to pass multiple tests, they have to do lots of revision, you have to write personal statement, you have to submit your CV, your grades, your references. On the top, you also have to pass a ton of tests, which is, unfair, but life is life sucks. Life sucks. Have you actually visited UK before coming here to study?
I actually didn't go to UK before coming here. The thing is, so I was an international student in Italy. Because I have Russian passport, I need to get a visa to UK. But I didn't have any family in UK, didn't have any friends, and just because it would cost like a lot, like for me just to get the visa, the tickets, accommodation, I'd have to go with my mom, so she would have to get a visa as well. It was just we couldn't afford it, and it was just I didn't know anyone in the UK, so I actually was just picking university based on like, okay, nice picture, nice ranking. Okay, I'm gonna apply, nice course. So that was definitely a struggle, and I know that many international students like me, they struggle with things like that. They don't know anyone. Like I tried to like find people on Instagram who go to Queen Mary, and I messaged them, but it wasn't really successful because it was also like some of them didn't even study there, some of them just posted because friends went there once. So it was quite chaotic, and yeah. I definitely feel like what inference does is really important. And if I had this opportunity to, like go on a website and connect with a student who studies in the UK, I would be so just relieved. They'll be like, oh my god, I actually can see what the campus looks like. I actually can talk to a student who already does that course. Yeah, so if anyone who goes on, you know, in a friend's website, you can connect with me. So I will definitely help you. I can, you know, virtually show you LSE, what our library looks like, things like that. I can help you with personal statement because I've been through this and it's absolute hell. And I definitely, I remember the feeling. You feel lost. You feel like you don't know anything. You don't know anyone. The application process is quite tough and it's long and has so many like just boxes to, you know, tick and check. So it's definitely really helpful when just have that person you can like just tell me what do I need to do.
It's always better when you have someone who been through hell.
Yeah.
And trust me, if you have decided to relocate, if you go to a new country to live, it's gonna be tough. So if you have the right people and the right advice, it's gonna be much hassle free. Okay, so my next question is: you're studying in one of the most prestige, in one of the highest ranked universities in the world, and as we mentioned, you have to submit documents. There are so many different factors. And my question is, what do you think would be the most crucial factor for your success of actually landing an offer at LSE?
Okay, so I think the most important one was definitely personal statement, and I think I can't talk about other universities, but LSE, they're really strict on that, and that's what they're looking for, the personal statement. If you got the grades, if you got, you know, 2-1 and above, that's fine, but they're not going to care much. Like, they want to see who you are in the personal statement, and that was probably the biggest success factor for me. Um, Even though it's coming from a Russell Group university, because Queen Mary is still in the group, it's still competitive and it's tough to get in, and you definitely just have to shine in your personal statement and really convince them that you're the right person for this university. So yeah, and I think LSE, what they pride themselves on is just finding the people who are really curious, and then you need to show in your personal statement it's not just about who you are, but what you want to learn and how you want to contribute to LSE, to its research, and just like, yeah, be that person who's like, I want to learn more, I want to understand why this and that happens in the world. So I think that's really important. Of course, they do also look at CVs and your grades and references, but I guess that, you know, that point where you make it or not, personal statement is a huge one. So I would advise all students who want to study LSE really focus on personal statement. That's going to be a big one. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the personal statement, but it's all very vague.
Okay.
Give us real facts.
Okay.
Something that will be very valuable to our future LSE students.
Hardcore advices. Let's go. Okay, first, I'm talking about masters specifically. Don't know about undergrad, masters. What they're looking for, the biggest one is they want to see your academic interest, what you've done during your studies in undergrad, what kind of research you've done. If you did dissertation, great. If you did like a research module, you have to talk about it. And a lot of it is you have to talk about your interest within the research. So I'll give you an example so you understand more. I was applying for media and communications. I was talking how in my undergrad I was doing social media platform module, and a lot about we spoke about was how, for example, you know, data collection and privacy issues affect people, affect voting in the US and things like that. So then in my personal statement, I talked about, okay, this is what I'm interested in. I really wanted to find out how media influences, you know, opinions about politics, opinions about like certain, you know, lifestyle choices. So you really have to go into detail exactly what interests you the most. And I really suggest, it's a good thing, is you go on the course page and you look at every single module they offer and you pick the ones you're most interested in, and you have to explain why you're interested, and then you have to connect it to what you've done already and why is it what does it interest you, and then how you're planning to, like, you know, achieve a good grade. For example, like I'm planning to, I know I said, for example, I'm planning to undertake this research for this module to understand something. So I think it's really important for LSE, just be very academic. I did, it's also really good if you have work experience, like internships, amazing, talk about it, but like in a paragraph or two. The rest is purely academic. Yeah, they just really want to see that person who, graduated from university, they done amazing dissertation, and all they want to do is solve global problems, which is obviously not true. I wasn't interested in that. I was interested to just get the LSE in my CV. But you have to come across a person who just really curious about like academic side of masters. And yeah, honestly, also the great tip is if you have like an academic advisor or like a student advisor at your undergrad university, please do contact them. They really helped me. So what I did is I wrote my personal statement, like a first draft, and then I had about 4 or 5 meetings with my supervisor where we went through every single paragraph, and he outlined for me, what are the weaknesses, what are the good points in my paragraphs. And he literally even looked with me all the courses that LSE offers in terms of modules. And he was like, okay, maybe you should mention this one because you've done this module in your first year at university. That's going to help you. So yeah, it's really important to, first of all, definitely get someone to help you, because everyone does that. So if you don't, you're kind of losing out, because everyone who I know who applied to LSE, they like ask the professor or student advisor or like a bunch of friends to help them to proofread and things like that. So yeah, so I guess overall, just really focus on academic sort of aspect of the modules and the whole degree, and definitely proofread a lot. Like I wrote the personal statement in 1 week, and I took 3 weeks to just edit it, like step by step, because it's a lot. It's like a 1,000 something, 1,000 words document, but you want to make sure there is not a single mistype or no. It has to be like perfect.
It was a very honest and amazing answer. I've actually found out quite a lot of insights.
Oh, wow.
Although I already done my masters, but I'm like, if I would know it before, probably it would be a bit easier. My next question will be, what would be your greatest expectations versus reality mismatch? As you know, when you're dreaming of studying in one of the best unis in the world, you get the offer, you're super happy, and then you're actually in this university. So what was your mismatch, if you had any?
Okay, yeah, that's a hard question, to be honest. I think generally I was really just happy to get into LSE, because the states were crazy. Everyone told me like, yeah, maybe you're not gonna get in. So I was like really excited. I didn't have much expectations, to be honest. I was just like, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna be happy. But definitely on the first day I arrived, I think I underestimated a little bit, because I had the perception that I got in, I'm worth it, right? I still studied in a good university before, but then when I arrived on the first day and the lectures just go like a very crazy pace during the lectures, and you understand because it's masters, it's going to be very intense. My mismatch was like, oh, I actually need to work much harder now than I did during my undergrad, because masters just way more intense, and especially if you study at LSE, of course it's going to be more intense. So what I did is, I think the first week I panicked. I honestly, like, I panicked. I was like, do I fit in? Like, am I smart enough? Stuff like that. So, but honestly, everyone had the same reaction, because you are in the room with like top candidates, very competitive, and you feel like, oh my god, everything I say they're gonna judge. No one did. Like, no one judged you. Everyone felt the same. So I think what's really important is just for everyone to like calm down. You're gonna be fine. And I don't know, like in 2 weeks I was like, yeah, I know everything. I read all my all my readings, everything's good. And but I think the good thing is, because people, when they think about like top unis, they think, oh, professors are like really like Oxford, Cambridge, they're gonna like look down on you and stuff like that. No, like my experience is that every LSE professor was so like kind, just very like understanding. And sometimes with, obviously, like in seminars it can be intimidating, but they really try to make you feel comfortable. And it wasn't like, okay, you have to answer now this question. No, it was like, what do you think?
I have a small follow-up question on the actual teaching. LSE is very academia focused,
Yeah.
and given the structure of your masters, was it a good balance in terms of the academic work, but also something practical, a work in a team, a work on real case studies, especially given the fact that you have been studying marketing, which is a kind of a part of the business, and business is something that you have to go and practice. Of course, there is a business from the academic point of view, but do you feel like you are getting enough of the practical bit as well?
To be honest, I thought it would be more practical, not gonna lie. So we, because it's masters, I only had 2 semesters, and the first semester was pure theory. There was no practical side of it. It was pure like, this author from 1986 said that, what about that? So it was pure academia. Which I was actually not happy about for like a couple of months. I was like, yes, this is great, but like, how do I apply it when I go to a job interview? Because the whole point, unless obviously you go to PhD, that's different. But for me, I just want to get a job in the end. I was like, how do I apply this knowledge? But then in semester 2, we actually did have lots of practical work. So one of the modules, we actually had to film like a mini documentary. It was fun. Yeah, and then another module we had to come up with like a marketing campaign, which is also practical. So there was definitely more balance in semester 2. But I would say, if you think that I want to apply because it's this very practical course, no. And I heard it's the same about marketing courses and management, that is still very theoretical. So you have to be prepared for that. And I think if I haven't done marketing in undergrad, honestly, I don't know what they would talk in my job interviews, because a lot what I actually did in my job interviews was coming from my undergrad. But I do not regret it, because I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to study LSE, and sometimes it's not just about practical knowledge. Sometimes it's just, it really develops you as just a person, as you have such a broad sort of sense of life and what happens around you. So it just makes you kind of feel smarter, I guess. Yes. More confident. So yeah, I do not regret it. But again, if someone someone is looking for a very practical course, that's definitely not the one.
I have a question in terms of the work-life balance. But do you think it's actually possible to do a part-time job and study masters at LSE? Because I mean, I feel like this is just impossible. I feel like it's really hard to find your life balance, even just having your masters and life all together.
Well, I think it depends on the person a lot. Like, I know people who are doing part-time my course, and they're quite happy with that. I know people who are like, no, we hate it, we wish we did full-time. So it really depends on the person. I would say, for example, I know I cannot multitask like that. Like, if I'm dedicated to masters, I'm gonna do it full-time, because for me, it's challenging. It's very different from obviously work. It's very, as I said, academic, not practical, and it's a different type of mindset to read various articles, journals, whatever, for like hours, and then write a piece, a good essay. That's very different to actually for work emails, meetings. It's a very different lifestyles. And you have to be, I guess, in different, for example, myself, I need to be in different moods for that, different focuses. So for me, I knew that's not going to work. I know people who actually prefer it, because they found it was like actually a sweet spot where I think they had to come in on campus like 2 days a week. They did have this huge academia life and then work. They kind of balanced it, so you're not always studying, because that also depressing sometimes when you're just always reading and studying, and it could be depressing. So honestly, it depends on the person, and I know people who've done it and they're happy, and they were also getting money while studying, which is always good. So honestly, it just depends on what kind of person you are. If you're more like a multitask, you like a very diverse life, that's probably gonna suit you well. But if you're a type of person who just focuses on one thing at a time, that's not gonna work.
One of the final questions. Have you found many new friends? Do you have lots of opportunities to meet new people? Do you participate in any societies? Do you have like, well, parties, you know, like this is all about parties. Do you have enough opportunities to meet new people? Yes or no?
Well, I'm only talking about master's experience, and coming from university from Queen Mary, that was also very different from social life. Like at Queen Mary, there was so many parties, and it was different because I lived on campus. It was like a whole campus life, which LSE cannot offer because it's like just a bunch of buildings together, but it's not really a campus sort of feeling. So speaking about my course, even though we're media and communications, quite ironic. We're not that not really that communicative. What's the word? Yeah, we're not very good at that. I felt like definitely it wasn't a place for like partying and socializing as much. Like yeah, I found like a couple of friends, you know, lots of people I met. They were nice, but it wasn't like we're gonna be best friends forever. No, but I think that comes because they came from experience of being a master student, because most of the people I met, they already like had an established life in London. They already had their like group of friends. They're not really looking for like more. Obviously, they're looking for maybe more people to meet, but not necessarily like always hang out together. And I know that undergrads at LSE have a very different experience, and they're definitely like partying and going to all the events and things like that. In terms of societies, there are definitely a lot. You can meet so many people, join so many societies. I joined a few as well. One of them was a wine tasting society. Yeah, that was fun. That was like pure socializing and drinking wine together. So yeah, there are definitely opportunities. And I hear people say, "Oh, LSE is not like this bunch of nerds kind of uni." No, I mean, compared maybe to Queen Mary, yes, but honestly, there are so many opportunities. But you have to, I guess, also have the right mindset. You need, let's say, to make an effort to do that.
Thank you very much.
Very honest.
Yes, it's a wine tasting society. It sounds like something I would definitely join. So now we are heading towards the second part of the interview, which will be rapid fire questions. So,
God.
Moscow, Milan, or London?
London.
Okay, fine. Your best module so far at LSE?
There are so many. Strategic communications.
Best parties? I mean, you've already answered, but I will still ask this question. Best parties, Queen Mary or LSE?
Oh, Queen Mary, yes.
So, guys, if you wanna make some friends, if you wanna party, just go to Queen Mary. LSE is just too
Too academic.
too academic. Where are the most stylish people? Because you're into style, and if you visit her Instagram page, you will definitely realize that. So, where are the most stylish people? Berlin, London, Moscow, or Paris?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's between Moscow and Paris. But I would say Paris, just for all the fashion shows, definitely.
I would go for Moscow. Hottest guys, or Slavs, or Brits?
Yeah, British. That's why I'm here.
British? No way! London is definitely a place for you. Imagine you bumped into Queen Elizabeth if she would be alive. What would you say to her?
I would say, I love your dress, Your Majesty.
And her hat, indeed.
Exactly.
Okay, thank
Fabulous
you.
hat.
Thank you very much for your time. It was an amazing interview. Guys, if you have any more questions, please reach out, DM us, message Katie. She will definitely not ignore you. I don't know.
Message me on Instagram.
Thank you. And please like, follow, and subscribe. And go to our YouTube channel. There are plenty of videos for you to enjoy in terms of the uni life and just, fun videos like this one. So, thank you. Thank you for watching.